Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrea Bischoff. I am an incoming student at Harvard Divinity School for my master's in theological studies. And today I'm going to give you some background on why it took me 14 years to get my bachelor's degree. And if you're struggling to finish your degree or discern what you want to do, I'm going to give you 3 tips of advice. First things first, it took me 14 years to get my bachelor's degree. The average college student in the US takes about 6 years to get their degree. So why did it take me much longer? Well, that story actually begins with high school. When I was in high school, I transferred to a Catholic school my senior year. I wanted a smaller school where I could meet people, where I could get to know myself and my peers. And I really struggled throughout high school at the public school I had been at before. So being in a smaller school really helped me. But at the time of graduation, which was in 2006, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I applied for AmeriCorps, which is a national volunteer organization for young adults, and I actually didn't get in, which was devastating for me because I really wanted to take a gap year between my senior year in high school and college. So instead of AmeriCorps, my parents encouraged me to apply to at least one college just so I would have somewhere to go the following year. I applied to a very, very small Jesuit private college, Jesuit is Catholic, in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And if you're familiar with the TV show The Office, which I know is probably my favorite TV show of all time, then you're familiar with a little bit of how Scranton is. It's a very small town. It's an old coal mining town, and there's really not a lot of opportunities in the surrounding area. So that was one of the reasons why I decided after my freshman year at Scranton to transfer. And I decided that I was going to apply to a few colleges. So I applied to the University of Delaware, Georgetown University, which was my dream college, the George Washington University, and St. Joseph's University. And I got into all those colleges except for Georgetown University. And I was a little frustrated because when I was a child, I had driven through Georgetown University and the surrounding neighborhood with my parents, stared up at those brick buildings and thought to myself, wow, this is a beautiful campus and I really belong here. But I didn't let that get me down. I went to another Jesuit college, St. Joseph's University, which is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And that was actually a really good fit for me. Not only was it closer to my family, I'm from Pennsylvania, but also it gave me a lot of opportunities to get involved on campus. So I was really involved in the theater group. I was volunteering several times a week. And I was very, very active in other student organizations on campus. I also ended up getting into an honors program at St. Joe's University, and I took 6 courses my second semester of my sophomore year. So my goal actually at St. Joe's was to work as hard as I could, to meet people, to get involved, so that I could boost up my GPA and my resume to get into Georgetown. I had, I think, like a 3.94 or something GPA by the time I applied to Georgetown at the end of my sophomore year. And at that point, I wasn't really sure I would get into Georgetown, but I thought to myself, well, it's my dream school, so I may as well apply again. I had also applied for a study abroad year for that following junior year to go abroad to Ghana and Austria. In Ghana, I was going to study international development and work for a nonprofit. That was actually my major, international studies. And in Austria, I was going to get more involved in my interest in classical music. I actually trained in classical music as a teenager. So I got accepted to the study abroad program. And then in, I think, May or June of the summer after my sophomore year, I got a big envelope in the mail saying it was from Georgetown. And I opened that envelope and it turned out I got into Georgetown the second time around. And I didn't really know what to think about my acceptance because I had already felt really settled and happy at St. Joseph's University. I was excited to go abroad my junior year to experience new things and new people. But I figured, hey, it's a really good opportunity and I wasn't going to turn it down. So I went to Georgetown the junior year of my bachelor's program to study international politics and international relations at the School of Foreign Service. And to be honest, the transition was very, very difficult. I struggled to make friends because I was a transfer student, and I noticed that there was a lot of external pressure that wasn't necessarily verbalized, but a lot of external pressure to get internships, to volunteer, to do well in school. So as a student at Georgetown, you're not only a student, but your attention is also diverted to internships and more career opportunities. So I really struggled to kind of balance those out. My coursework was suffering a little bit, and I really missed home and I missed my family. So I ended up taking some time off. I took a leave of absence from Georgetown, went back home to Pennsylvania to my parents' house, and discovered holistic health. I ended up teaching yoga and meditation, and I felt like I was giving back to others and serving my community. It felt really good while also making some money. But in the back of my mind was always finish my degree, finish my degree. So I decided to apply to colleges again. And all throughout my 20s, I kept applying to colleges. I would go to one for like a year or a semester and then feel kind of uncomfortable with it and end up leaving that institution. So I think total I've been to maybe 5 or 6 colleges for my bachelor's degree. And each time I went to college and each time I ended up withdrawing from the university that I was attending, I felt really guilty and ashamed of that. But I felt like, hey, it's unfinished business. I have to keep going, and I'm committed to getting this done so that I can move forward with my career and hopefully at one point get a master's degree and maybe even a doctorate degree, which is something I've always wanted to do. So I was still teaching yoga part-time, trying out different colleges, but while I was interested in finishing my degree, I felt like I wanted to become a Catholic nun. And this is something that has always been of interest to me since I was a child. I would read the Bible early in the morning. I would meditate as a teenager. I actually taught myself yoga and meditation from a young age, and my grandfather did yoga. So I ended up traveling kind of around the world to different Hindu ashrams and different Catholic monasteries. I stayed in contemplative Catholic monasteries such as the Trappistines and a Carthusian-like monastery for about 8 years on and off. In the Carthusian-like monastery, I was in the mountains and I lived in a hermitage by myself. But it was this time that I was able to really discern what I wanted out of life, what my values were, and I deepened my relationship with God, which made me really feel at peace during a time when I didn't feel at peace. I didn't know what the next steps were for me. And I was very frustrated that I constantly struggled to get my degree. It seemed like there were always barriers for me. But after trying all these different schools, I figured I might as well just go to an online college and get my degree at an adult college where they would accept a lot of my transfer credits. So that's what I did. I applied to Thomas Edison State University. I got accepted, and it only took me 3 courses to finish my bachelor's degree, but it took me overall a total of 14 years to get that degree. Looking back, I really have no regrets. I graduated with a 4.0 GPA from Thomas Edison State University, and even though I had struggled in the years prior and been to quite a few schools, more than most people, it was during those time periods of doubt and of confusion that I dove into myself. I spent a lot of time alone and in self-reflection to figure out what I wanted out of my life and my career and how I wanted my day-to-day to look like. And I think if I hadn't had done that, if I hadn't had lived in the monasteries, done silent retreats, meditated, taken time off from school, I really would be in a career right now that I was not happy with. So now I'm currently in Cambridge, Massachusetts I finished my bachelor's degree, and guess what? I got into another great school, Harvard University, for my master's in theological studies. So, given my background, I would say I have 3 points of advice if you're in a similar boat to the one that I was in. The first one would be to get curious about life. If you're not really sure what it is you want to do, if you're struggling in the educational system, go out there and experience the world. Go out there and job shadow someone whose occupation interests you, or join a different volunteer organization. Look in the newspaper or on meetup.com to find groups that are of interest to you that you may want to get involved in. There's really no mistake when you communicate with someone and you take that first step towards acting in the world. You're basically informing yourself through that action about what you like and what you don't like. And then when you come home at the end of the day, do the inner work. That's the second tip I have for you. So, doing the inner work, being introspective. At the end of each day, you can write down, what is it that I enjoyed about my day today? Why? What didn't I like about my day? What did I like doing? What didn't I like doing? What challenged me? And what are areas of opportunity for me? Maybe these are skills that you need to hone, or maybe these are qualities that you need to imbibe more in your personality. So doing this kind of end of the day journaling, kind of similar to the Ignatian exercises, at the end of each day is very fruitful and can be very helpful. We often don't know who we are when we're teenagers. We often don't know what we want. Oftentimes we just take on the beliefs and the desires of our family or friends around us without actually figuring out for ourselves in the silence alone, who am I? What are my unique qualities and what do I have to offer the world? The third tip I would give you is to commit. Once you've gotten curious, you've explored different realms in life, and you've done the inner work to really determine your own values and your own inner and outer goals in life, now it's time to actually take action and to make those commitments. I'm what you would call an idealist, so I have a lot of dreams and thoughts up here in my head and in my heart, and it's hard to live that out in the world. Sometimes we go out there and we're discouraged by what we see, or we feel pressure from people or discouragement from those around us. But you have to stay true to yourself. And conversely, you also have to take little steps each day to making your dreams become reality, whether that's applying to a college that you're interested in, or taking a course, or jumping into a volunteer opportunity. We will never get to where we want to be by always ruminating or idealizing. We need to actually take physical actions and steps. Be willing to take risks. Be willing to fail and then to start over again. And think about what skills, talents, and interests you have that you can hone so that you can make a difference in the world. Because ultimately, I think we're all in a discernment phase in life. We're all figuring out what it is we want, who we are, but ultimately we do this in the context of the world around us. And we're here, we're born on this earth, I think, in order to make a lasting difference. So those are my 3 tips for you. That is my experience. I hope this was inspirational and I hope this helps you. If you have any other tips for those who are struggling in school or confused about their life path, feel free to put them in the comment section below. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.